All right, guys. Perfect. Everybody invite followers again. Let's get it. Let's raid Periscope, man. Let's raid Periscope. I'll give details at the end, man. Details at the end. It's kind of like a presentation, right? I'll get started in just a minute. Let's get people back in here. All right. Here we go. So the market times. So, this is all Eastern Standard Time, okay? Remember that. Eastern Standard Time. I got a message on Facebook, huh? Good call. Hey guys, if you give me 500 hearts, leave and come back because they don't count towards my total if you keep going after 500. You have to leave and then come back. All right, continuing on. So all these are Eastern Standard Time. So 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. is Asian. So there's the first one, right? 3:30. Let's go AM over here. You guys see that okay? Can everybody see that? I just want to pause real quick and make sure everybody can see that. Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so from 3:30 to 9. This is about market maker method Forex, if you're wondering. 3:30 to 9. So 3:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. That is London, aka the money session. London. I'll put a few dollar signs so you remember that. London is where the money's at. London is where the money's at. All right? 9:30 to 5 p.m., 9:30 a.m., of course, is New York. Here we are. Here we are. All right? Now, you guys may have made an observation. I have 8 p.m. to 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. to 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. to 5. Patrick, 5 to 8, you're missing something. It's a 24-hour market. Oh, wait, remember when I was saying earlier that if you see somebody giving signals between a certain time, they suck at the market? Well, here we are. We're into it. Everybody take a picture real quick. Take a picture real quick. And we're going to go into the most important time to not trade. All right. And I'm going to make this just it gets its own board. We call this dead gap. Dead gap. 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Take a screenshot and post that by your bedroom, by your mirror, and everywhere else that you look every day. No trades. No trades. No trades. Okay? Why do I say this? The three main sessions are Asian, London, and New York. Asian, London, New York. When we have this gap, we have no real market maker movement. No real market maker movement. There is something called, I believe in the retail world, they call it, let's see, I think they call it the Tokyo Channel. And people suggest trades sometimes in there, and I just shake my head. Because if you consistently look, now it doesn't happen every day, but if you consistently look, and you see when we're at this time, the movement will be very consolidation heavy, right? You know, they don't have the volume, people aren't trading, and there's no heavy market maker movement. That's why when we hit Asian session, at 8 p.m. we hit the Asian session, and that's when we get in the accumulation phase. We start the day with the accumulation phase. We hit the original high of the day and low of the day. We bounce off of it. And then we go into London session, and then we start making the moves. So that's dead gap, guys. Dead gap is important to know. Now, another thing you might have noticed is that when I said, like, for example, I said, 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. and 3 a.m. started London, right? 3:30 a.m. started London. So when I said this, there's this gap here too, right? 3 to 3:30. We call that gap time. Now that's a general gap, and that's a gap it's not bad to trade, but what happens is this guy here at Asian session talks to this guy here at London session. It says, hey, good morning. How was your coffee this morning? Oh, it was good, yeah. Hey, I got 50 billion trapped here. What are we going to do? Okay? And then they talk about what they're going to do for the day. And that's why you see such heavy moves at the beginning of sessions sometimes. Because they know what they're going to do, and they're like, oh, we got to get out of there because the zone's going to shift and people are going to start catching on to us. We got to get out of there and make our money. I want to get my Easter check and get my daughter a nice car. Because these guys are playing for money. They're playing against you. And what we're doing is trying to play with them. Because if we play with them, we can be just as powerful. We can make just as much money. And we can have a great life, right? All right. All right. It's going well so far, guys. I'm loving this. Okay, here we go. Now, there's people in my course, right? There's people in my course. And by the way, if you have anything about the course, I'll put up my contact information at the end, okay? And we'll do questions at the end, okay? So there's people in my course, and when I teach this, and when we teach this with the course material I use, they often text me, let's grab this trade. And what they are meaning by is the most powerful trade that you can take. The most powerful trade you can take. Let me say that again. You can't lose. This trade you cannot lose. Now, this isn't a trade that happens every week. It doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen every month. But if everything lines up correctly, this is the most important trade that you'll ever take. And I'm going to draw it out for you, okay? So, as I said, on our charts that we use, and I'm about to explain how we know, Cloaked Knight, I'm about to explain that. On the charts that we use, right, we have a blue box that indicates Asian. And we have a red box that indicates New York. And we don't have any boxing here because this is where the trades happen. So we're going to just do that. That's London. That's Asian. And that's New York. Okay? Those are the 3 times. They're right in front of us. So, when we get this accumulation phase, as I said, we'll come into the market, we'll set the original high, original low, we'll dance around. We'll come out and we usually dance around some more, accumulate some more. Then, what we'll do is we'll come up, we'll come back down, and we'll come up. Okay, right here, we'll pretend right here, actually over a little more, pardon me. Right here is the beginning of London session. So 3:30 a.m. Right there at that, this is at 3:30 a.m. 3:30 a.m. we have it right here. We're London session. So if we come in at 3:33 a.m. with a 15-minute candle, 15-minute candle, right? And we already have this previous peak. We've come down, accumulated more in Asian, and we come into London. And we have this 15-minute candle, and the first one that spikes up is a hammer. Now, what's a hammer, you may ask? I drew it up here. I'll draw it again. That's a hammer. You have no pin at all on the bottom. Nothing at the bottom. Nothing. It can't be a little tiny thing. Nothing. And we have a pin at the top. A solid pin, but may I add. Okay? So this completes this M formation. And this is from the 3:30 to 3:45 a.m. 3:30 to 3:45 a.m. completes an M formation. It's the second leg of the M on the third level of rise. We haven't gone over levels yet, so you're not going to understand what that means. Just write it down. Okay? This is called a Brinks trade. 3:30 to 3:45, 15-minute candle, issuing a hammer on the second leg of the M formation, or a W. It can be completely, just reverse that. Completely opposite. Okay? And that hammer issues what we call a Brinks trade. And I'm just going to write it up here now. Okay. Brinks. $3.30 to $3.45, and it issues a hammer. Brinks trade. Now, don't get yourselves caught. It has to be second leg M or W, and it has to be on the third level. Has to be on the third level. Exactly. You can bet your ass you're making money. Okay? And this is, you know, a lot of people don't get caught with this part. They catch this 345, they catch the hammer, they catch the second leg M or W, but they don't know what level they're on. London Open, exactly. And if you have this right here, right? If you have this right here on the third level, what that's meaning is if we're on an M formation, you have 3 levels of rise. I'm going to explain levels later, guys. I'm going to explain levels later. And you have 3 levels of rise. Accumulate 1, accumulate 2, accumulate 3. Accumulate 1, accumulate 2, accumulate 3. Here's the Asian. We come down, accumulate right here. That's London Open. 3:30. It's a hammer. Brinks. That's the setup. Because you know we've had these 3 levels of 3 levels of rise throughout the last 3 or 4 days. We issue an M formation up here. We issue a hammer. It's the beginning of the session. What they're trying to do is hit that last little part, go bing, and what they're going to do is plummet this thing. 100 pips. 100 pips at least. You catch one of these things, you are making money. And you bet your ass you can put as much as you want in there. Just make sure your account can hold it. Because it's not going to come back anymore. If the formation is there, this will not come back more. This is the highest point. You have found the anchor point for the week. It will come down the rest of the week. You can leave it in for a swing. 250 is an often pip range for that. 250 to 300 pips. Take the 80 R of the day. You know, about 100 pips times 3. 300 pips. You can catch that many pips. You can really do it. All right? Somebody just asked a really good question, right? How are you making money if it drops? In the Forex market, if it goes up, you place buys. If it goes down, you place sells. And I'm sorry I didn't mention that. These are called long holders, and these are called short holders. I'm sorry I didn't explain that. But yeah, you can play this market both ways, and that's what's a beautiful thing about it. This is on a 15-minute chart always. You can play this market both ways, so you can make money both ways during the day. That's what's the best part about it. All right, so that's the most important trade that you can take right there. And it doesn't, like I said, this trade doesn't happen every day, every month. It used to happen all the time. When I first started and I was in demo, this thing would happen literally once a week. And we could always play it. We knew it was coming. And then suddenly, the market maker caught on that people actually knew what they were doing. They knew that on Wednesday, I'll explain later, Jim. They knew that on Wednesday that they were on these 3 levels of rise. They knew that people caught them. They thought that they were going to come up again. They were just trying to make it look like there's a 4 level. Boom, drop down. Okay? Now, write this down. This is, like I said, this is a very general introduction to market maker method. So I'm not going to go into levels, how to count things. I'm not going to go into 22 or 33 trades, nothing that eccentric, right? I'm just going into generals. So these things right here, are the 3, important things that you need to know about the market. So, 3 market best knowing. So these things right here are just what you need to if you understand these, you can understand the market maker. You can understand what he's going to do. Okay? So if you understand what I'm about to write, these 3 things, you'll understand where he's going to go every week and why he did it. Okay? So the first thing you need to understand is his patterns. So the first thing to understand is patterns. W, VVM, and MAAW. That's where I was saying to you guys that we create an M on the Brinks trade. That is it right there. There it is, coming together. That's the M. This is what he does. He comes up, we have an M, right? There's where we sell. Second leg M. Second leg M. We come down, we pull back. We consolidate, come up. There's the A. You get what I mean? We do it again and we go into a W. That's all he does. And either he just goes from MAAW into a WVVM and goes back up, or he just extends it another time. So he goes MAAW to another MAAW. And if you can read what he's doing, you can just take it every day. Right? So that's the first most important part. First most important part is patterns. Second is knowing that your times are okay. And I talked a lot about timings earlier, as you guys know. Asian, London, New York, dead gap. Knowing the timings and when he moves is the most important part. Because if you know the timings, you know when he's going to happen. So like when I'm trading, I don't come in, as you guys know, I don't get on Periscope till approximately 1 a.m. Eastern. That is because of all this. Because I know that he moves at that time. And when he moves at that time, I know what he's going to do. Okay? That is how we caught the GBP trade. When I caught 113 pips. I woke up 113 pips up. My penny testers made me $13.50. Can you imagine turning a penny into $13.50? And then I put, of course, 30 centers in. You guys get the point. And then, of course, the third part that's important is understanding the levels. You understand what level you're on, you're going to know if he's going to actually go up and continue the pattern or reverse it on you. And levels are a very key important part. And this is, right here, what I'm going to work with my Academy members a ton on, because this is what took me the longest and what I'm still working on today. I work on levels so much because the market maker manipulates it over and over and over because he knows people are onto him. He knows it. And if you can catch what the levels look like, he'll try to fake out a level on you. He'll try to make it look like a fake level. And what you have to do is figure out how to box that thing off and know when it's a new level. And of course, like I said, I'll get into all this. Just kind of get the general concepts down tonight. All right, get that screenshotted. I have a feeling my email and my phone's going to be blowing up tonight after I put my info up there, so I'm in for a long night, I have a feeling. All right, here we go. Now, this is a key part. This is a key part. Understanding that the market maker can't do whatever he wants. You know, we have rules, you know. If you are on a $100 account, you can't put in $3 on 1 to 200 leverage. You can't. There's a rule. The market maker also has rules. And these rules will help you in knowing if he has to pull back down, if he just shot up, right? So the general rules of the market maker is that, they can only move 200 pips a day. They can only move 200 pips a day. So if you see, let's just pretend here, bear with me. I'm going to use very simple numbers to keep it, because there are probably beginners in here. We'll say this is 0. We'll just keep that at 0. And this is 200. Okay, those are the lines. You see the market maker kind of making moves, and he comes up in here. You bet your ass that he has to come back in this zone here. So you can sell. If it's at 230 pips that day, you can sell. Then it's safely do it because they have to. Do I know why? No, but they have to keep the currency from ruining the world. Because of course they're running the currency of the world. Do you think that they want to be responsible to all these world governments? Of course they don't want to piss anybody off. They have to retain these rules here or they're screwed. That's why oftentimes, and I'll explain in a minute for the week, NFP does such a big correction. Because they have to get back in their range without ruining the week. So with that being said, also, they have a rule of 600 pips a week. That's their rule. That's just simple. That's black and white. That's what they can do. 200 pips a day, 600 pips a week. So get that in there. We'll move on. All right, so I'm going to do just a few more things here, and then we are going to wrap it up. But so I want to talk about just the general market maker moves. Cloaked Knight, I'm going to be using WhatsApp. So what I'm going to be talking about is just general MM moves, right? So just the general market maker moves, okay? And of course, what they want to do, like I said, on the first rule, it comes together again. They want to hit stops and go up or down. So depending on where they're at on the chart, if they're down here, they want to hit the stops down and go up. If they're up here, they want to hit the stops up and go down, right? So that's their first, that's their first go-to move, is hitting the stop. And you'll see this more and more as we draw these out. We'll draw setups soon. And the second thing is they want to reverse. And this one I'll really elaborate on, off high or low of the day. And you might ask, why do they want to reverse off the high or the low of the day all the time? They don't do it all the time. But if you see a market maker make a good effort to create a real good high of the day, like I said, like 3 hits to the high. When they're doing this, your old trading ways, some of you might be buying, because you're going, oh crap, it's going up. And then suddenly it stops. So what we're talking about here is if we're coming in accumulation and they do these 1, 2, 3 hits to the high. Then they come off and pretend this is London. And I'll draw it with red for New York because I want to get you guys thinking New York is red. There's New York. What you can see is if they drop off on London, they keep playing around, whatever, they're doing their moves. This is the original high of the day, right? That's the original high of the day. What you'll see is, oftentimes, if they get to that high again, they're going to make a sharp correction back down. Now, why would they do that? Think about it. If you are entering trades up in here, right? Long orders up in here. They have your money long. And let's say you went to sleep and you woke up the next morning and it's right here when you wake up and it's going up. What you're going to be thinking in your head is, oh, I got it right. It finally is happening. But what the market maker knows is that there's so much equity trapped in this zone here there's so much money that they will lose if they hit it that they have to reverse off this. So when you see a, suddenly halt, like a wall is here, like there's nothing else up here, there's a wall right here, and suddenly it halts, or a pin issued, just a nice little pin or a hammer, you know that they have to reverse off that, or else they were going to release these people. And they're not going to do that. They're going to save the money. They want to save the money. So they will want to reverse off the higher low of the day. The third is if everything lines up for the market. They're just going to do a straightaway. And these are the ones that I rarely catch, right? Reason being, they do a straightaway, meaning drop or rise. And they just do this. I mean, they'll be just accumulating and then bang, they fly up. 50, 100 pips. They don't stop. They might stop for 3-4 candles. But no setups occur for us. This is a straightaway trade. This is when they know that they have so much money somewhere that they have to get out of there because they're going to release. So they do a straightaway trade. That's their third go-to move. And that move is something that we don't capitalize off often because I'm in here for a 80 to 90% win ratio. And playing straightaways all the time, I wrote straight aware. You got to be aware of them, I guess, right? Playing straightaways all the time will get you in trouble because oftentimes it'll look like a straightaway and then you'll see it stop and accumulate. So what you have to do is be careful. Straightaways are tricky. All right, and they're just their fourth go-to move. And it connects to those panic things I was talking about. It connects to the panic. And that is just simply the timings. Knowing your timings, and they play off these timings. And they also want to test your patience, right? They want to test the patience of the trader. They want to see how many traders are going to back out when they're down 10, 20 pips. If they see enough do it, then they're finally going to hit up where they wanted to actually go. But they're testing the patience, and they're trying to create panic in you. Don't let them do it. Know what they're doing. You got to be ahead of them. So there's the 1, 2, 3, and 4 main market maker moves. Very simply put, they're playing off the high and low of the day. They're hitting those stops and going up or down depending on when they're out in the chart. They're taking straightaway trades. And of course, the timings, like I always said. All right? So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap this thing up right now. And then I'm going to get on and do a Q&A. And we're going to talk and just chill. All right? And I'll draw things out and we'll do that. So I'll see you guys in just a few.